Hello, 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 and welcome to the next episode, Learn, Grow, Do, Repeat with Jamie Totino. So today, we're taking it international again, and we're going to the other side of the globe. But we've got an international star who has been in LA for the last 5 years, making big waves and pursuing a career in the TV and film industry. She started at the age of 14 in her homeland of South Africa, presenting on TV. And from then, she actually knew that this is what she was going to do. She has hosted the Golden Globes Award, red carpet. She interviewed stars like Nicole Richie, Simon Cowell, Tyra Banks, and even Terry Crews, just to name a few. I love Terry Crews. Just
love him.
Yeah. And this year, she landed a dream job at America's Got Talent. And I think so early in your career, you're only just getting started. We have the incredible Chanel Hurlin. Welcome, Chanel.
Yay!
Welcome,
Jamie, thank you for having me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you for joining us on the other side of the world yesterday, because it's technically Thursday
so
there.
Weird.
Yeah,
So
amazing,
weird.
amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to get stuck straight into rapid fire. So that's what we do there. We got 21, 22 questions, quick questions, quick answers. Are you ready?
I've never done a rapid fire, so now I'm excited.
Well, let's do it then. Favorite song right now?
Oh, you know what? I am a big fan of Jungle, and so my favorite song from them is Cherry.
Cherry. All right. Cherry.
Do you know
Favorite
it?
song? No, I don't, but I'm going to Google it. I'm going to
really
YouTube it. And I think Google is the first thing we always say, but I'm actually going to YouTube the song. Favorite song to get pumped up to?
Oh, a little Cardi B. There's nothing like Cardi B to get you in the mood. Or Beyonce, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
getting
Beyonce.
ready.
That's a common answer, Beyonce. That's a common answer.
Oh, really?
Your favorite movie?
Moulin Rouge. Nicole Kidman's my everything, and that kind of was like my aha moment to be in this industry. Moulin Rouge.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm not very good at giving short answers, am I?
No, that's good. Don't, you're actually doing really well. Most people go on for like a rant for like 20 minutes about their favorite songs. Like, I just asked what the name of it was. Favorite book?
Normal People.
Okay.
It's a new one.
Author? If you know.
I've just forgotten the author.
That's okay.
But she has a series on Hulu that just came out. So if you read the book first and then you watch the series, you'll appreciate it even more.
Okay. Favorite color?
That one changes. Sometimes pink, sometimes black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Your go-to meal?
Pizza with a side salad, and then you put the salad on top of the pizza, and then you don't feel as guilty.
I love the strategy. I love the thought process. That's so good. Your favorite TV show?
Right now is The Bold Type, or my all-time favorite is Breaking Bad.
Okay, Breaking Bad. Your first job?
My first job, a waitress.
Waitress, okay.
I was terrible at it at a pizza restaurant. Terrible. Your
biggest celebrity / sporting idol growing up?
Actually, sorry, can I go back on that? That's such a lie. My first job was a TV host at 14. How did I forget that? I only became a waitress at 19.
Was that like an illegal TV host? Was that something that like you should wait until like you're certain age to work?
No, that was all legit. And then I actually only became a waitress at 19 because my boyfriend at the time worked at that restaurant, and a lot of our friends did. So it kind of was like a social. I only did it for a month and then they fired me. So
is it because you're giving up
TV hosting?
Yeah. Was it because you're giving up too free food?
Well, me didn't know how to work the computer and would charge people for like half pizzas instead of full pizzas or vice versa. And it just was a disaster. So they were like, stick to the TV hosting, Chanel.
Well, I think what the biggest problem was, someone would order a pizza and you probably give them a salad as a side.
Yeah, there we go.
And they're like, you just can't do the order. Yeah. I love it. Your biggest celebrity / sporting idol growing up?
What? Sorry? Biggest what?
Celebrity / sporting idol growing up.
Oh, Nicole Kidman, Charlize Theron, both in the field, and Kat Deely as a TV host.
I like it. One thing you hate or dislike, and you can't say coriander.
I don't like fish paste.
What?
Fish paste.
What's that?
Yeah, don't even. You don't need to research what that is.
Well, I'm glad I don't know what it is.
Very traumatic experience with that when I was like 6 years old. I went to a restaurant with my friend, and her aunt ordered fish paste on toast. I mean, it just sounds horrific. And I was like, I really don't want to eat this. Like, all very polite. Like, this is not what my vibe. Please don't make me eat this. And she was like, you have to eat it. I bought it. So it was very traumatic. So don't give me fish paste.
There it is, guys. If you ever cross paths with Chanel, do not give her fish paste. I love it.
Fish paste. No.
Funniest or craziest thing you've done?
Craziest thing, I've skydived, I've
Mm,
paraglided. But I think, to be relative to what we're talking about today, the craziest thing I've done is move halfway across the world at
totally.
age 23 by myself after living in a little bubble in Cape Town to pursue my dreams.
Amazing. Amazing. We're definitely going to dive a little bit deeper into that
Yes.
for sure. Are you more of a book or audio book?
Book. I've never listened to an audiobook.
Wow. Have you got
Yeah.
any interest in doing that, or just more of a just hardcore book?
I've Podcasts are more what I enjoy listening to,
Mm,
but I think if I do give it a shot of listening to an audiobook, I think I could really love it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
there's something about holding a book. I don't even
yeah,
do a Kindle. Like, I love holding a book and
yeah.
turning
True.
the page,
Yeah,
you know.
agreed, agreed. If I'm going to hold it, I'd rather hold the book than hold a Kindle, to be honest.
Yes, there we go.
And you can write in it and stuff. Yeah. Summer or winter?
Summer.
Okay. What's one thing that you haven't done yet that you really want to do?
I really want to rollerblade.
Oh,
Or is it roller skate? Not the one with the four wheels.
I think that's skate.
I see all the girls on TikTok are doing it, and it looks really cool. And I'm like, I really need to
Well, you've got the best
learn
spot
how
to
to
do it
do
there,
that.
down Santa Monica. You can do it there.
Yes, Santa Monica, Venice. That's the vibe.
All right. All right. Roller skate. Well, next time I'm there in LA, we're going to have to go roller skating. Even though I don't know how, I'm just going to learn on the spot because, like, you have to
There
do
we
that.
go.
You have to do it.
There we go.
Sum up your mindset in one word.
Uh, my mindset in one word is all about, I guess, positive thinking. What you put out, you get. So,
We'll
and also
combine
let
those.
yourself feel. Whatever you're feeling, let yourself feel, because only from there can you grow. So
Love
that's my
that.
mindset, especially during this time of
Totally.
just 2020, COVID, life, this industry.
Mm,
Let
mm.
myself go through the motions, experience it, and not be so hard on myself if I am feeling a
Be like
certain way.
fluid. Be like flow. Be like fluid,
Yes,
like water. Just go
exactly.
with it. Yeah. Good.
Go
Good.
with the flow.
Yeah. Your proudest moment personally and your proudest moment professionally.
Personally, my proudest moment, I would say last year, is when I took my health back into my own hands. LA and the lifestyle here was quite hectic and took a beating on me, both mentally and physically. So I took a year to work on myself, and I'm very proud of the progress that I have
Awesome.
made and still
Well done.
continue to choose to make. So
Yeah.
that's a personal thing I'm really proud of
Awesome.
and
Well done.
enjoy. And then thank you. And then career-wise, moving here, you said I hosted at the Golden Globes it was actually the after party red carpet, which was
Wow.
just so much fun.
That's another
I
whole
think my
episode there, guys.
career,
I just want to
yeah,
another whole episode on that.
yeah, that was very cool. Actually have a few funny stories from that, which we can get into. But I
Totally.
think with my career, the goals and the things that I'm proud of, it kind of changes every year.
Mm,
When I moved here, it would be booking the job with the Buzz. This year is working with AGT, so it changes depending on my goals.
amazing. Amazing. Well done. Huge efforts. What's been
Thanks.
your greatest failure, or you can substitute that word for anything else, but your greatest failure that was your best lesson?
That's a tricky one because I'm going to be all cliched here and say that I don't really see my choices or the different paths as failures. One thing that I did recently regret, if we can use that word, is when I moved to America, I was like, I'm only going to focus on one thing, and that is my TV hosting. And I kind of think that was a bit silly because I moved to the city where movies are made. I acted also in South Africa. So I moved to the city where movies are made and I give up acting. So I feel like my whole time here, I've kind of not given any attention to acting, but I've recently revisited that as of last year. So I'm back in it. So really, there's no regret there. It's just I wish I'd started a little bit earlier. But here we are.
Good.
Here we go. Here we are.
Yeah. If you could choose one person in the world, any one person, to have lunch with, past or present, dead or alive, and you've got a 2-hour time limit, and where would you have lunch?
Oh, I'm a little bit cliche. Number one, Mandela. I always was like, I really wish I had met Mandela. So I think he's just a phenomenal man. But Charlize Theron. I mean, I'm here as an actress, I'm here as a TV host, and I think she's done it all. I think it would be very interesting to have a conversation with her. And
where would you have
having lunch with Charlize Theron. Can you imagine? There's a really cute restaurant on Sunset Boulevard here called Le Petit Four. I would love to go there. Or the ideal would be Soho House.
I'm just putting it out there, putting those good vibes out there, putting those good vibes. As soon as we get off this recording, you're going to get an email from Charlie being like, hey, let's do lunch at Soho. Absolutely. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. What was 10-year-old Chanel like?
Oh, 10-year-old Chanel, what a little cutie. Just so naive. She was a dancer. She was living her best life, very protected in her bubble, no worries, loved her chocolate. Just
Love it.
having the best time in Cape
Yeah.
Town, really.
Good. What's one trait or quality that you most attract to, or the one that's most important, you would say, within your closest network of friends, or top 5 people? What's one thing that stands out within them?
Honesty, loyalty. So those are 2 things, but I think they work together.
Absolutely. Good one. And lucky last, your favorite superhero.
Oh, my favorite superhero. I'm going to say I recently watched Batwoman. So I think she was created as a superhero of late. I don't think she's an original. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I really love that series,
Totally.
Batwoman. And Ruby Rose, I think, she's not a phenomenal actress, but I think she did a good job in the
Played that
role.
role well.
So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Love it.
Batwoman. Yeah. All for the women.
Yeah, definitely. Love it.
2020.
Love it.
Let's do it.
Well, we were actually watching Justice League the other night, myself and May. And
I haven't watched it.
yeah, it was good. She was like right into it. She was absolutely loving it. So no, it's good. Well, that's rapid fire. Well done. You made it.
Love it. Thank you. I did my first one.
Happy days. You can put that on the resume now.
Yeah.
Put that in the bio. Absolutely. Let me ask you this, what's one thing that you've learned about yourself during this COVID period?
Oh, I've learned actually that I'm mentally strong. I think I've spoken to, and I'm very open with this, so we can dive into it if you wanted to. The past, when I moved here, I was on such a high. It was a start. I literally started from the beginning. A year and a half into my stay, LA kind of took its toll, and it was really hard. I did go through depression. I did struggle in every kind of way. And I think what I've learned, especially now in lockdown, is those tools that I use to get out of that state and to kind of be the best version of me, if we can say that, I put to use again in lockdown, because I didn't actually feel any anxiety. I wasn't worried. I was like, we're all in this together. I'm not going to let this affect me, because what's that going to do? Like, it was almost comforting to know that we were all in this together. Yeah. And I'm very lucky to have my boyfriend here, and we have a precious little doggy. She's looking at me right now. So like my lockdown space was a very happy space. And I think if I hadn't worked on myself those past few years to get to where I am now, I think I would have really suffered now in lockdown. What I learned is that, yeah, my mind is strong and I'm okay. Awesome. And yes, I'm going to have up and down, and it's ready to just embrace those ups, embrace the downs, because you're going to come out stronger.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. Well,
that's what I learned. And I also learned, oh, sorry, yeah.
No, go for it. You're right. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I also learned that I miss reading. I don't think I've really read a book in like forever. And already now in lockdown, I read 5 books, which is very impressive for me.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, maybe that extra reading might help you get some new scripts when you're getting back into the acting space.
Exactly. Well, that's actually why I watched Batwoman, to be honest, because I had a very cool audition for the show. I didn't get it, but the fact that I got the audition was very exciting.
You were like, I would have played that role so much better.
Yes, I'm like, come on.
It
was for a new superhero.
You get the next bigger and better one, whatever that is, that comes your way.
I hope so. I hope so.
What you sort of mentioned there about the whole, the LA got the better of you. Is that like a common theme there in this industry, or is it something that you can prepare for? Like, or people just a little bit maybe naive to it? They just think they'll go there and it'll all happen. Because is it true? Like, and I did a bit of research, as you do, that you actually went to LA with no manager, no nothing. You just went there, no job. Yes, just flew in.
Nothing. Yeah, 100%. I literally did arrive thinking, cool, I'll give myself 6 months and I'll be the next Ryan Seacrest from South Africa. Like, I moved here very naive. And like you've said, no manager, no friends, no work lined
up. By
Nothing.
yourself? Were you by yourself? Yeah, no.
Or by myself. Yeah, nothing. I did move in with a family here in LA. My mom actually taught the mom of the family. So they're old family friends. And thank goodness for them, because I had this home base to come to every night. But other than that, it was just, Chanel, go, do it. And I often look back at that time and I try and pull that excitement back into my current situation to be like, let's remember that Chanel that arrived here so excited and big-eyed and just like taking everything in. And I am like that again now, but I'm a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
Like, and I had to go through all those motions though. I don't think anyone should come here and almost feel like it's not going to happen to them, because that's life. LA is a very difficult city and everybody says that. But we chose this industry. If the exciting thing is that everybody in this city is here for pretty much the same reason, for their dreams, for this industry, whether you're a writer, an actress, a producer, a musician. And I think that is just so beautiful and so exciting that we all here for pretty much the same thing. But to go back to the tough of it, it's extremely hard. Most of the time it is who you know.
Totally.
A lot of the time it's not even about your talent, it's about your followers, it's about just how you look. Are you right for the brief visually? You know, regardless if you're actually a good host or not, or a good actress or not. So those are all the things that you deal with in this industry already. And then it's cutthroat. Hey, I mean, there are thousands of actors, thousands of TV hosts, but only a handful of jobs, especially with TV hosting, because all the channels have their hosts already.
Correct.
And I mean, with E-News, they've just cancelled E-News, so there we've got less jobs.
Wow. The whole thing, or just for a period of time?
Yeah, E-News. No, E-News is done. The actual show E-News that they had with Juliana Rancic, Ryan Seacrest, Jason Kennedy, that's done.
That's stuff they play here in Australia.
Yeah, it's what I grew up like watching, because I was like, I need to be on E. That is the goal. And I think that's another thing that I learned when I moved here, is that it's okay to shift your goals. I've done all the kinds of TV hosting here. I've hosted on a YouTube show. It had over 1 million subscribers.
Wow.
Which is kind of like on the lines of what E-News is type of hosting, celebrity hosting. I actually started my own channel with 3 of my friends. And that was a ball, but I realized that's not the kind of hosting I want to do. I've done red carpet hosting. I love that. I've done interview hosting, like what you're doing, just one-on-ones with people, which I also love. There's so much to this industry that I think it's okay to come here and be open to learning and be open to the falls, and to figure out maybe that's actually not the kind of host that I want to be, or that's not the direction I want to be. When I moved, like I said, I was like, cool, I'm going to be Ryan Seacrest in 6 months. I'm so excited. But that's actually not the direction that I want to go anymore. So I don't want to be on radio like Ryan Seacrest, you know what I mean? And that's fine.
Yeah. I guess you see it on the internet.
Does that answer your question? I can't even remember what your question was now.
No, that's okay. No, but look, you see it online, you see it on TV, and you see the lifestyle, like, that'll be cool. But like you don't see the backstory, you don't see the actual work that goes into it, you don't see the prep work. You don't see all the the blood, sweat, and tears in a way.
Yeah. Lots of tears. My word. Lots of tears. But
I love it.
I'm happy I went through those moments, and I'm happy I cried when I cried, because like I said, and I think a big theme of my life right now is going through the fields and just growing from that.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get better.
Yeah.
And
it's going to happen anyway. Like either way, like you're going to have the ups and downs. Like there's no one's life is just up. There's always going to be the bumps. There's always going to be challenges. So if you can learn to embrace them sooner rather than later. And I like what you said there about trying the different hosting, trying the different styles of hosting, and obviously now getting more back into the TV and film and maybe acting and playing that role. I think that there is really important, like in my opinion, for people, because you have this dream of, I want to do this. And like, you're just so fixated on going in that direction. But now in 2020 and onwards, there's so many different versions of things. Like you said, YouTube wasn't around the way it is now 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, exactly. You have to be open to those things, because it changes so quickly too.
Totally. Next, like TikTok, what was that? At the start, before COVID, like it was there.
Right?
But what was it?
It boomed now in quarantine.
And then who knows what next year is going to bring, and then the year after, who knows what 10 years will bring. There'll be an entire new industry, could be based around AI, that you can get into.
I'm a little bit nervous for the next 10 years, to be honest, the way that everything's
Look
going.
How far we've come in the last 10.
Yeah, exactly. But it's exciting. I choose to see it as something exciting.
Agreed.
That change is inevitable,
Absolutely. So, at the age of 14, you got into TV and you were hosting back home. Were you always a kid that would always talk? Like, were you just always talking?
To be honest with you, I actually am very shy. Like, put me in front of a camera and I can speak, I can shine.
Yeah.
But in an intimate setting, I'm actually very shy. I think some people would disagree, but if you know me, obviously I'm very comfortable. But overall, I think I'm shy, and I hated doing orals, like when I had to that kind of I guess could you call that a style of presenting, doing an oral, but that intimate setting, the intimate settings, I'm very shy. Like debating, don't put me as in a debate. I'm not about that life. However, when Steve Sherman, he was actually a living maths teacher, which is like an advanced extra maths kind of program in South Africa.
Yeah.
And he was hosting on this show called Hip to Be Square. And they wanted to make the show a lot more young. And he said, Chanel, I'd love you to go and audition for this show. And here I am, little 14 Chanel, being like, what? Why would he what did he see in me? Why did he choose me? But I went there. My audition was a live show, which was unreal. And
that's not an audition.
just thrown into the deep end. I freaking loved it. I remember sitting there and watching the show and seeing the presenters do their thing. And the flow of live TV is just so exciting because obviously you can't go back. What you say, what you do, it's out there.
It's in the world.
So no, to answer your question, I was not the girl that's always talking. But I quickly realized that this is such a freaking cool industry, and it's something that I do want. I didn't even know hosting could be a job. It was, I grew up as a dancer, so being on stage was always something that I was just kind of used to. And acting is something I always wanted to pursue, but TV hosting was so new to me, and it just felt so right once I did that throughout high school for 5 years. I'd leave school early on a Monday and go to the studio and do the show and then go home.
That's that's cool. So you go to school and then like half an hour later you're live on TV. And
yeah. I would leave at second break, and so I'd miss the last like hour and a half of school, and then head to the studio.
And then by the time your friends got home from school, you're live on TV. It's like, oh, there's Chanel. She was just
exactly.
Now she's there on TV.
Yeah. And
cool
the best thing that I love to do was shout outs. So a bunch of the times, like my friends would be like, please give me because at the end of the show you could like shout out for birthdays or whatever, and they're like, please give me a shout out. So sometimes we would pretend that it was some friends' birthdays to just like say their name on TV, and it was like the best moment ever.
Totally. That's when you've made it in life, if you got a shout out from Chanel live on TV. So what was the actual show?
It was called Hip to Be Square. It was by Mark Shuttleworth, who is the first South African into space, and it was math, science, and technology. So it was an educational show. And I started off as the brain teaser girl because Steve Sherman, he was on the show as the brain teaser man. And so I took his job. And so every week I'd do the brain teaser. I'd come on the show like for a few minutes at a time throughout the episode. And then at the end, give the answer, and people would win some magazine. I completely forgot the magazine and the prize. But anyways,
that's okay.
And then as the years went on, the main presenters would come and go. And for the last like 3 years of my time on that show, and that show was running, I was one of the main presenters.
Wow.
So I was like, 16, 17, 18, and hosting on a show as one of the leads.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So
I didn't know how lucky I was. Let's just say
totally.
That.
Oh, when you're that age, you don't know.
America,
though, like,
starting again.
Totally. Looking back now, like, wow, I was a lead host on a TV show. Let's just go back in time and stay there.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
You've mentioned a few times that you were a dancer, and then like you had a sheltered or not. What was your upbringing like, and how did you get into dancing?
So my mom grew up as a dancer. My mom had a dance studio in Cape Town. She's very well known in the dancing world. So the dancing and the arts was just a part of my life. I mean, I went to ballet at age 3, and then started tap dancing age 4, and tap was my forte. I only stopped dancing as a whole at the age of 22. So literally just before I moved to America as well. And I knew that dance was never going to be my career. I didn't have that love for it to do it as a career. I always knew I wanted to be on TV and film.
Yeah.
But it was the best hobby I could have ever had. And I've traveled to India. I actually danced for the IPL as a cheerleader for the Sunrisers. I've been to New York twice. I've been to Boston. I've traveled all around South Africa. So dance is such a big part of my life. but was never, like I said, going to be my career. But I'm so happy I had it as a hobby, and it taught me the discipline, and it taught me, it kind of, I think, also in a way prepared me for this cutthroat industry here in LA, because a dancer's life is hard.
Yeah,
but I
very
mean,
similar.
so many of my friends in South Africa have come from my dancing world. So it was just a part of life, really. My
Amazing.
upbringing was just dancing 5 hours on a Saturday,
Wow.
getting ready for competitions.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was very cool. I miss those days a lot.
Yeah. I like what you said there. It sort of taught you and prepared you for like this lifestyle, you know, and this life,
Yes,
this period of what you're going through, you know.
for
And
sure.
I can definitely relate because, you know, like growing up here in Australia was, for me, it was a lot of sports. So I played AFL,
Yeah.
like football, Australian football, and cricket. So
Oh, wow.
football was during the winter.
Yes.
And as soon as it would finish, like you'd finish on, like, the last game would be on Sunday, and like that Wednesday, so 3 days later, I'd start cricket training. And
Wow.
and it was, I think it was that level of commitment at a young age, like 10, 11, 12,
For
to a
sure.
sport, to training, to turning up, that you develop, and it's like a muscle that you build. And as you go on in life, like that is still there, like that level of commitment, discipline,
100%.
dedication. And even like you said in your bio, like there is no plan B. Like why have,
No, never.
you know,
Never.
and was that something that you sort of instilled or grew up with? Or was it just let's make happen what we're aiming for?
I think so, yes. Possibly. I'm very lucky to have extremely supportive parents. They've never forced me to do anything that I don't want to do.
Awesome.
So even though my mom grew up as a dancer, and I don't think she would recommend anyone grow up as a dancer or go into that field because it is so difficult, and the lifespan as a dancer is not very long. If I wanted to be a dancer, she would have supported it, you know. And then I also credit my mother for me being here in America right now on my green card and all of that. I think it was extremely difficult for her. I'm an only child, so it was very difficult for her to say. I remember the day I came down the stairs and I was like, Mom, I'm moving to America. And she was like, okay, let's do it.
Oh, wow.
And it was as easy as that. You know, she was like, if you want to go, we're going to make you go. So I'm very, very lucky to have such a support system.
Yeah. Well, that actually ties into my next question. Do you remember the moment you decided to move to LA?
Yes, 100%. I mean, people ask me and be like, have you always wanted to be in LA? Have you always wanted to live in America? And I don't actually know if the answer is yes to that. But the reason I say that is because, yes, I've always known what I wanted to do, but it was never something that I was like, I need to be in LA. I need to be in LA.
Yeah.
Although I've always grown up wishing that I was an American cheerleader. So
did you watch Bring It On?
Bring
It On, that movie?
Yes. Yes, I actually came to America on exchange in grade 10. And the girl that I lived with, Catherine, her sister went to UVA, University of Virginia. And one weekend we went out to her. I mean, we were only 15, so we just went to go watch a sporting game, and they were cheerleaders on the field. And I remember being like, oh my word, I am here in America, and these are real American cheerleaders.
This is real. It's
not
a TV. Yeah, it's real. It happens.
I ran in the halftime. I ran down to the bottom of the field, and I got a photo with all the cheerleaders. And looking back now, I'm like, wow, Chanel, those are just like college girls doing their thing on the field. But anyway.
Correct. And they've gone on to do other things now. Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. But sorry, what were we? Where were we there? I'm going.
Do you remember the moment? That's okay. Do you remember the moment when you decided to move to LA? Yeah.
The moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like being in America has kind of just subconsciously been something that I've always wanted, but wasn't really something I grew up saying, I want to be in America. I want to be in America. Until that day, it was in 2014. I walked down the stairs. I remember my house. I walked down the stairs. Marky Costello had a show on E! News. On the channel, and it was all about management in LA, and she had this hosting agency and everything, and I would watch it religiously and be like, oh my goodness, that was the day. I was like, I walked down the stairs, I was like, Mom, she was sitting in the lounge, I was like, Mom, I need to move to America. And she was like, okay, let's do it. Because my dreams were not possible, unfortunately. As much as I love my country and my city, what I want to do, it's not possible in Cape Town. It's not possible. So,
well, and I love what you're doing, putting it on the map, leading the way, and bringing awareness to your hometown from America, which
for sure.
Good. LA is the biggest platform to do it on, in that space. What was now looking back again, you can probably give so many tips, but what were some things that you learned when you were first there and realized, wow, I wish I knew this before?
There's actually nothing I wish I knew before. I am so happy I went through all those ups, all those downs, and learned everything that I've learned now. I grew up very quickly. Like I said, I'm an only child. I've had a very cushioned lifestyle and life, very blessed to say that. And moving to LA was scary. And I didn't realize how scary it was until I moved here. I was excited up the whole way through. There was nothing that I was afraid of, which looking back, I'm like, wow, old Chanel was so bold.
Yeah.
Don't know if I could do something so scary right now, knowing how big and scary the world actually is. So maybe my bubble lifestyle was actually a positive in that aspect.
Yeah.
Moved here with no fears. But yeah, no, there's nothing I would redo. There's nothing that I would change. Even getting into acting now later, even though I said earlier it was possibly something I regret, and I don't really like to use that word, but I'm glad I did it. I'm doing it now because I feel so much more stable mentally, physically. My goals are a lot clearer, so I'm in a better space to
approach that goal.
As I'm acting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, exactly.
Definitely. What was your first big break?
Yeah.
What was your first big break?
So actually, only 3 months into living in LA, I mean, I was emailing every day. I was bold. Also, I was a great stalker. I found out like everybody's agent, everybody's manager, all the TV shows here in America, because it was so new to me. I only knew E! News, and I was like, that is the show I need to be on. But my big break, my first break, I would say, my big break is still coming. Still coming, and I'm very excited for that day.
I love that.
But my first break here in America was on the show The Buzz with Bobby Jones. He is like my American dad here. He taught me so much and guided me so much and gave me so many opportunities, like on the red carpets, speaking to all the celebrities I've spoken to, and kind of getting my foot in the door in the American industry, because I was so new. Even though I'd done everything in South Africa already, coming to LA was a clean start. Nobody cared that I was on Hip to Be Square. Nobody cared that I'd done this show and that show, and that's fine. I'm not sad about that. I think it's great that I had a fresh start.
Awesome.
Something new. So yeah, that was the first thing. The Buzz on NBC.
So what's the lifestyle like there? Like for someone in your role and your visions and your goal, what's a day entail? That's just a little bit of a selfish question even for me. It's like, what happens? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, it's actually my life is very different every day, which is I'm very fortunate enough to say that. I do sometimes crave that routine that I had growing up, which is like school and then extramurals and then dinner and bed and stuff. I do sometimes miss that kind of routine. But with what I do now, I don't think I would work well with a very strategic kind of lifestyle. Yeah. I love the fact that I can pack up and go to Miami for a week. I love the fact that I can pack up and go home for 2 months and everything is going to be fine. So let's say today's an exciting day. So I woke up and I went, my boyfriend and I, he's a DP, so he's also in the industry, which is great. He actually needed to meet somebody to get some footage. So we always back and forth with kind of helping each other out too.
Awesome.
So we went to the area where he was collecting the footage. We had a lovely breakfast. I had my 2 coffees. So I'm very energetic right now. And then came home. We set up a little studio here now for our interview. A little bit later on today, I'm actually going to go play golf. I'm getting into golf. Jamie, who am I? I don't know. and then tonight I'm actually doing a Halloween themed yoga class with a few people from AGT. Yeah. So, and then let's say it's AGT. I'm working with America's Got Talent. My day is completely different. I'm up at 6. I'm at the office at 7 a.m. I finish at 8. I go to the gym because we could use the gym at the hotel that we were based at. Luckily, given the COVID situations, everything is closed here. I could work out and then I'm home in bed having tea and going to sleep to start the day again. So life in LA is, majority of people, I would say it's a freelance lifestyle. Every day is different.
Yeah, that's cool.
But also maybe it's not a good thing at times, because you can get stuck in the rut.
Totally.
If you don't have anything to do that day, it's very easy to sit on the couch and watch TV all day and feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah, correct. and not do the groundwork.
That's where
there
we go. But also it's good to have days like that.
Of
So
course, we're all humans.
I allow myself to have a couch day and then to have a very
Absolutely.
busy work day. You
Yeah.
know,
Again, you deserve it. Like again,
fun.
when you work for it and you do 3, 4, 2 weeks, whatever it is, straight, like just
Oh
hustling, getting
yeah.
it done. You deserve a week or two, a day or two to yourself to say, you know what, I'm just gonna watch as many Netflix and
Yes.
stand anything I
Yes.
can
And if it
online.
is a week, Jamie, let's indulge in that week on
Totally.
Netflix.
You know, if it's a month, well, you know what, let's just say it's a month.
Yeah,
I can't say I've done that,
there
but
we
you know,
go.
maybe someone else out there is doing it. I like it. I like it. So when you
No
said that, like,
judging.
nah, definitely not. So now with, America's Got Talent, what like one, how did you get that role? Two, like,
Hmm.
what does that entail? Like again, because for
Hmm.
like people at home, they see the TV. Well, what
Yes.
actually goes? Like you said, you were there from 7 a.m. till 8.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
What
yeah, yeah.
happens in that, you know, 13
That
hour
time.
period?
Yeah. Well, I actually have quite a fun story with AGT, and I guess it's quite a full circle story. Is that when I left, um, when I left South Africa for America, my mom and I joked. We said two things: how amazing will it be one day if you interview Simon Cowell, and two, if you are on the carpet at the Oscars, whether that be working or interviewing or whatever, just to be at the Oscars. So those were two things that were kind of just said out there. Within my first year, I interviewed Simon Cowell on the red carpet and I went to the Golden Globes. Not the
Amazing.
Oscars, but on par
Almost
as a
just as
pretty big
yeah, definitely.
award show. Yeah,
Yeah.
just as amazing. And so with the buzz, I as you know, I've got to interview quite a few celebrities. And when it was the live shows of AGT, after the live show, the contestants would go on a red carpet. And there you would have all the TV channels, and that's E and Access and the Insider, our show, The Buzz, and we interview all the judges and the contestants. So for 3 years, I did that, interviewed Simon Cowell, met him, phenomenal man. And the end goal, just to tell you, because I don't think I've told you this, the end goal of my career would be to host a show like America's Got Talent and work for Simon Cowell as a host for one of his shows. So the fact that I had interviewed him and chatted to him and like he knows me, that was just so surreal. And
Amazing.
then this year I took that a step further, and my friend Marissa, who I know from the TV hosting world, she started working on AGT as a producer, and she knows I love AGT and just want to be involved any way that I can. And she was like, we have positions open for in production, and she said, would you like to apply and be involved? And I was like, didn't even second guess it. I was like, absolutely yes.
Where do I
And this
sign
was
up?
also such a new venture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a new avenue for me to be working a lot behind the scenes and actually in production to see how things work. So this year is when I started actually working for America's Got Talent. So not just like interviewing Simon and working for my show and having that kind of
Mm,
connection.
mm,
It
mm.
was actually with the company, which was so cool. And this year I was with the contestants. So basically what happens from the 7 a.m., I'm in the contestant production team. We it's not very glamorous at all. First of all, let me tell you that. It's hard work, it's long hours, but I never woke up over those 7 weeks. I never woke up and went, oh, I have to wake up. I have to go to work.
Yeah,
And I'm not a morning girl.
yeah.
Ask anybody that knows me. Chanel is not a morning girl. So the fact that I would wake up at 6 a.m. and get out of bed and go to work and be
Let's
so
do this.
excited and
Yeah.
not complaining. My boyfriend actually said that to me at the end of the 7 weeks. He was like, Chanel, you actually never complained once about going to work. And I was like,
Wow.
oh my word, that is so true. I didn't. That's so that means I know I'm in the right place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so to answer your question, my word, I take a long time to answer your questions, Jamie. But what happens in those 13-hour periods is, yeah, so we start in the morning, 7 a.m. We do the breakfast, we work with the catering, we package because of COVID. My on-site probably would also be a little bit different given it wasn't a COVID year. So
Yeah.
this was just happening because a lot of things were also done on Zoom. So in that day, I would go to rehearsals with the contestants. I would set up the Zoom and the camera because all the producers would be on screen on Zoom, and I would be in the studio with the contestant while
Wow.
they're rehearsing. So it was pretty cool. I got to see a lot of the performances and the comedy sketches, and Brandon, who actually won, I got to see his performances
Wow.
like before the rest of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we'd load that onto the system. Then it was a lot of driving the contestants back and forth from the hotel to Universal Studios. Because of COVID, we were doing it at Universal Studios this year as opposed to the Dolby, which is where they do the Oscars as well. So I know Universal Studios like the back of my hand, which is just unreal. And
all access
my
pass.
yeah, literally, it's crazy. For my birthday last year, we went to Universal Studios to Harry Potter World and everything as,
I love it.
you know, just people. And now this year, I know Universal Studios as like an employee and like the back end of everything. It was very cool.
Amazing.
And then, yeah, just a lot of kind of just running and helping and making the show work.
Bring it all together.
Then, and then sometimes in our downtimes, of course, we played a lot of Uno. we had some downtime, so now I'm an Uno pro. But yeah, it's a lot of hustle bustle. It's very exciting. A lot of COVID tests. My goodness, that was 3 times a week having a COVID test. So yeah, I think if you had asked me this question last year or the years moving forward, it might be a little bit different. But this year was just kind of also figuring out how to make a show work.
Totally.
Given the
circumstances,
2020 situation.
Yeah. So on that, like, what do you see as the future of the film and TV? Because definitely this year has changed the way we do things on a huge scale. And the one thing I love especially is that, like, technically, like, the show still went on. TV
100%.
shows still went on. Entertainment, sports still happened. So people got creative and figured out, how do we do this? Like, honestly, like with my podcast before COVID, I was always like, I'm never going to do a Zoom. I want to do it in person, and I want to have like the energy of people together to do the recordings. But then because of Zoom, because of COVID, I had to use Zoom, and it's the best thing I ever did. We definitely wouldn't be here right now.
Exactly. It's just opened so many more doors.
Yeah.
And I think that's the attitude that you have to take, is that
totally,
okay, there's a bump in the road, but we can still carry on with the show. And I think Hollywood had to take that approach because nobody was working. I mean, what does Hollywood run on? It runs on productions. And here we can't even be 6 feet from each other. Everything, so many movies have been postponed to next year. A Quiet Place. Do you know that? Have you watched A Quiet Place?
No.
No, phenomenal film. You should watch it. But their billboard for, so good. Their billboard for the second film was put up in February this year on Sunset Boulevard. And that's when everything kind of started to shut down. And that billboard has actually, there's another one in Hollywood, that's actually just stayed up this whole year, which has been a very eerie reminder of how much things have changed, because they didn't want to launch in cinema because cinemas were closed.
You couldn't.
So they couldn't. Yeah, they would make, so I think they also lost a lot of money. A lot of premieres have also happened on digitally. Is that how? Why can't I say that word?
Virtually.
Like Mulan on. There we go. Like Mulan on Disney Plus. So we've kind of just had to adapt. I think for me, it's made me realize that this is going to just get even harder. It's also made me grateful that I can now keep on auditioning, because a lot of things are done through self-tapes anyways. And a lot of people book stuff on self-tapes. So yeah, it's just, I think moving forward is going to be very different for Hollywood, but we're making it work.
Correct. Yeah, good.
The exciting thing for me is to see how things were done during America's Got Talent to make the show go on, to be like, okay, there is a way. I don't think it's going to be like this forever, which is great. I hope not. My goodness, that will suck.
Yeah,
but it's still doable. We don't have to give up. That's basically what I'm saying.
Do you think next year, or even maybe even the year after, like 2021, 2022, like there will be a massive influx of work? Like there'll be tons of movies, like once it all starts to reopen again?
I hope so. I think the more movies that are created here, the more shows, the more jobs. So a lot of people have taken a knock. However, though, the one thing that is great about the American government is that we've all been given unemployment due to COVID. So a lot of people were able to survive and keep on going every week by getting some money, which I know isn't a luxury to I mean, even in South Africa, that wasn't happening. So
yeah.
a lot of people have struggled, but that was something that was wonderful here, is that we were able to get some kind of income, even though productions were down. But I do think, there've been 3 shows now that have actually aired, one on NBC, one on Hulu, and one on Netflix, whatever, that is actually all done on Zoom.
Oh, wow.
My friend preaches on one show on NBC, Connecting. The whole show is done on Zoom. So all the actors are acting with each other via Zoom. So that is,
you know what it's called? I want to watch it. I want to check it out to see. Connecting
on NBC. Yeah.
Just to see.
So that's a concept that, to see how it's done. Yeah, because that's a concept that, I mean, we would never have thought of given the situation. So I think that's where we got to see the light, is that there's new stories to tell, different angles.
I like it.
I wonder how long, though, we are going to hear about COVID and 2020 being the year in stories moving forward.
Correct. Yeah, definitely.
We're going to get over it and be like, let's not be reminded of that time, please.
In like 30 years, we'll look back. Do you remember 2020?
Yeah.
Do you remember that shit we went through?
Well, actually, funny that you say that, is that I just watched the show Chicago 7 on Netflix. If you haven't watched that, that's also great. And I was like, that's so insane that actually, was a time in history that is now being reenacted on Netflix. Given 20 years, 30 years, we're going to be watching documentaries about 2020 and how people would only get dressed from the top upwards.
And we had this whole thing called Zoom. Exactly right. Yes. I love it.
Yes.
What do you think would be some, really powerful tips for someone wanting to make the move, based on your experience and based on someone that's like they're living it now? Not someone, because the reason that I'm asking this, because I don't want to ask someone that's went there and then come back and was only there for a year and been back wherever they are for like 2 years. Someone that's living it right now, like in the thick of it, going through probably the most challenging time ever with COVID. Like, what would be some tips to really help someone make the move there, whenever the borders open and you can actually travel international? What would be some tips for them?
Well, I think the actual moving process as a South African is a lot more challenging. So I'm not too sure how difficult or easy it is for you guys as Australians to come this side of the world. Yeah. But I do know, as a South African, first of all, if you are wanting to come here, bless you, Dave.
Bless you.
If you are a South African wanting to come here, 100% first thing is to get the paperwork sorted. So I know that's also quite a boring, tedious kind of process, but you do need to get that sorted so that you can work here. Because me being on a green card, I would not have been able to have come this far if I was on any other visa. I don't think, because you're very restricted. You can only be here for a few months or a few years, and then you have to renew, and it's a big process. But coming on a green card, it's valid for the rest of my life. Awesome. And actually next year, I'm going to be doing the process of becoming an American. Amazing. So I'm going to be an American girl. I could be the American cheerleader I've always wanted to be.
Love it.
But so yeah, that's the first thing I would say is paperwork. 100%. You don't want to come here, and you don't, especially during this time where there's so many restrictions on travel, you don't want to be given like a red flag or a red dot by your name. And questioned. It's just, it's not worth it. If you are serious about being here, it's not worth it to take the shortcuts. So just make sure that you're here legally. And then second of all, you need to really love this industry, because it is difficult. And I'm annoying myself by even saying that, because you do want to hear that it's all fun and glitz and glam, and you don't want to be told that it's difficult. And I'm not saying that it's difficult in a bad way. I'm not saying that as a negative. It's just the reality. It's not really a negative or a positive. But being in LA is difficult. It's just the way it is. So it's your choice whether you see that as a challenge or something to embrace and be better from it. And third thing is money. I know that's also a very sensitive topic that people don't really want to talk about money. Me neither. But that is, again, very important. You need to come here with a little bit of money, or a little bit of an idea of how you're going to be getting money. Because the credit story here in America, it's just all those like things that no one really tells you prior. to moving that you don't know, because we don't have a credit story in South Africa like it is here. You need credit for everything, to buy a car, get an apartment. Nobody cares that you just moved here and don't have credit. They're like, well, I need to see your credits. So there's no easy route for that as foreigners coming in. So yeah, those are my 3 things. Is really paperwork, just accepting that it is going to be difficult, but seeing as that is exciting.
Correct.
And
Absolutely.
money.
Yeah, come prepared.
And then just go for it. Don't have that plan B. I've always said that. Don't have that plan B. Yes, life is difficult. I think every avenue you take, whether you're a doctor, whether you are a dancer, whether you are an actress, life is difficult.
Yeah.
And it's how you choose to see it and embrace it.
Agreed.
So,
and you got to think as
fun.
well, like,
it's fun being here.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, on the topic of that whole, it's difficult. I've got a really good friend of mine who's from Melbourne, and he's chased the whole career, and he's in LA at the moment doing incredible things.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and like, even he said, like, it's not easy, and it's almost like everyone, like, if you speak to any single person, with, like you said, you're a producer, actor, actress, TV host, musician, it's hard. So it's like, it's not like you're trying to just warn, like, you know, you're trying to be like the bad person, say it's hard. Like, every single person's gonna say that. So, you know, bite the bullet and be like, well, maybe it's gonna be fucking hard. You know.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
But that's but if you want it bad enough, and if you love it, like, we actually had this conversation the other day, because I was like, oh, I wish I kind of just took an easier route, not necessarily an easier job. Let's just say as like an accountant, right? I'm not saying that's an easy job, but it is a more simple route. Correct. Because it's lined out for you. You study for these amount of years. You go to this job. You do your work and you go home.
Yeah.
Oh, bliss. But here, it's like every day, it's like, OMG, is this going to happen? Am I going to get that job? Am I going to book that role? Am I going to wait another 10 years until I fully have everything that I have dreamed of? I don't know, but that's part of the fun of it. Totally. So yeah, sometimes I do wish I just took a little bit more simple route.
Beautiful. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but you know what? The simple route sometimes is, you speak to people that are 40, 50, 60, and like, they've done the simple, route forever, and they're like, oh, I wish I did something different when I was younger. You know, so,
exactly. You know. Well, that's the thing. I do have moments of being like, oh, I wish. But then I'm like, no, I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to change my life. And I am staying. So exactly, I've come this far and I'm staying. I freaking love LA.
Good. Well, on that note, what's next? Like, what's the future? You know, again, in this unknown time, it's obviously going to be very difficult to say, well, what's going to actually coming up. But for you, short term, sort of, a year or two, to then long term, what's the plans for you and the vision for you?
Well, America's Got Talent starts again next year. So I will hopefully be back on board with that come March. But until then, it really is just keep on keeping on, Jamie. Like, I know what I want to do and I know where I want to be. And it's every day, it's just keeping that in the forefront of my mind and tackling the obstacles that come in my way. So I work out. I'm auditioning. I'm doing a lot of self tapes. I actually got so I have a manager, and now this is also crazy. Being here almost 5 years, I've only just got an agent. It's very difficult to get a manager and an agent. So I've just got an agent. So now my team has grown a little bit more, which is amazing.
Awesome.
I am thinking of doing my own podcast too. So
amazing.
I am in works of that. I think, like you said, given the situation, it's actually so easy to connect with people all around the world.
Absolutely.
And thanks to Instagram, I do have friends all around the world in this industry, which I think is so cool that I can interact with.
Awesome.
So, the end goal never changes. What happens up until then, is different routes. And Correct. It's how I choose to tackle that and which road I decide to go down.
Good.
So, I love that about the life here, is that it can change so quickly. Like, I never thought I would be working in production at America's Got Talent. Yes, that would have been a dream, but I didn't think it could actually happen. So now, who knows? Maybe I can work with America's Got Talent full time one day. So really, to answer your question, is just keeping on. Potential podcast, doing the auditions. Maybe, given the situation, I actually thought I was going to be in South Africa in December, but that's not happening.
Yeah.
Who knows what December brings?
Totally.
But yeah, that's.
Well, let's hope there's a few. Let's hope there's a few lunch dates with Charlie Sarong. That'll be a nice one to add.
Hello, yay!
We're still waiting on that email. She hasn't emailed yet. What's going on? What are you doing out there?
Put it out there though.
Correct.
I'll give it a day.
So we'll give it 5 minutes, and then she just doesn't remember anymore. What's going on? Love it. What's one thing that you learned, in the process to date that really like blew you away, whether it be personally or whether it be the whole, LA and Hollywood thing. But one thing that you learned that really just like, wow, I didn't know that, or I didn't expect that.
I think just how difficult it was going to be. I don't know if that's a bit of an boring answer, but I really landed in this city so naive and didn't think it was going to be so difficult. I could have given up several times already, but I haven't and I won't. But every day I'm learning things. Just even how a red carpet works, something so simple like that, like how you actually have to sometimes fight with the publicist to be like, listen, I'm here for you guys. Please, can you bring your celebrity to talk to me? I didn't know that was such a struggle. Behind the scenes on a red carpet is a bit of a shit show. Let me tell you that.
Wow.
Sorry, can I say that on here?
Of course you can. Well, of course you can.
It's a bit hectic behind the scenes. And then I've also done work as an extra. Being an extra on sets was one of my first jobs here too, which is very interesting to see the behind the scenes of like a Hollywood set. It's just so much bigger and there's so many more people, and it's like, wow, I'm actually on a Hollywood movie set. This is pretty crazy. Yeah. So everything, literally, I've started again. So
awesome.
My time in South Africa, everything that I've done prepared me for the moment of moving here. And like I said, no one cared what I did in South Africa, so I kind of started again. But I really did start again because it is so different. Just how people work, how people communicate. It's different, but it's an exciting difference.
Awesome.
And I embrace that.
Good. Maybe give us a couple, one or two quick stories of this whole red carpet behind the scenes. Something that most people wouldn't know. Oh
my word, I have the worst story. Okay, so I've had majority of my red carpet interviews, actually all my red carpet interviews have been really pleasant. I did have an interview with Robert Downey Jr. and I don't think that he wanted to be there at all because he was pretty rude in the interview. Like he didn't even make eye contact with me. Like he was over it. And I didn't take that personally because he was like that with everyone. So I was like, okay, he just doesn't want to be here. It's fine. Then at the Golden Globes, Jimmy Kimmel, I had a really cool moment with him. He was actually hosting the show at that time. But then Kendall and Kylie Jenner arrived at the after party. And my boss was like, Chanel, they weren't like really stopping for interviews. He was like, Chanel, you need to go and get that interview. And I was like, hey, guys, what do you think of the show? They both looked me up and down and carried on. And then I just turned to camera and I was like, clearly they're speechless. They love the show so much. They've got nothing to say. But I do have one cringe story, is that I was at the NBC press tour. So before all the shows air on NBC, they invite all the press to come into this, like, into one of the hotels. It always changes, but into the big boardroom, and they set up the red carpet and the lights and everything. You have all the networks and all the shows. Their cast moves from each network to just kind of, get the story out of their new show. And interviewed someone from who I thought was from Nicole Richie's new show. And she was not who I thought she was. And so I'm asking her about this show, and she's like, she was actually so sweet though. She was like, I don't actually know what you're talking about. I was like, oh my word, are you not? I can't remember her name. Are you not her name from Nicole Richie's show? And she was like, no, I'm not. And I was like, oh my God, what show are you from? They told me her show. And thank goodness I had done my research prior, because you get a list of like who's coming down and what shows. So I was able to so quickly snap into like what I knew about her show. So thank goodness I had her, who was so lovely, and she was like apologetic to like me almost, that I thought that she was somebody else.
This wasn't live though, was it?
Camera. It's not live, but it's all on camera because we're rolling from the beginning. So luckily no one in real life has seen that, but that was
just in the cloud somewhere. Just in the cloud somewhere that footage is floating around.
I mean, but even though it happened between me and her, like there are people around. Like my boss was watching, and we had a few assistants that day, and all the other hosts, and oh my God, I just ended up, and they were like, you handled that well, but wow, embarrassing.
Know your people. I love it.
Yeah. well, okay.
Yeah, definitely. Do you remember the moment, Chanel, when you sort of said to yourself, wow, like, this is real. Like, this is real.
Yes. It was when I met Simon Cowell, and that was much later in my year of moving. So I moved in 2016, and that was the October of 2016. And I think because he is just such a pinch me moment, and
What's he like
somebody
as a
that
person?
wonderful, absolutely wonderful, respectful, so generous of his time. Like a lot of people, I had a moment with with Tyra Banks's publicist the one year, and she was like, Tyra will not be doing any interviews. And I'm like, we all here to interview Tyra. Like,
Yeah.
we're not here for any other reason. And Tyra actually heard her tell me that she doesn't want to, that she won't be doing interviews. And Tyra was like, I will be doing, shit's fine. I will do the interview. So we had a very lovely interview with Tyra.
Awesome.
But I don't know why I'm telling you that now. But back to Simon Cowell. He, no matter what his publicist says, he will give every single network his time. He will talk. He's so polite. I mean, yeah, he's authentic. He really is.
Just a normal guy.
What you see on TV, he's in real life. Yeah, he's kind of like slowed down on being harsh, but he's still extrememely honest, even if it's not in a harsh way anymore. Like if I was on that show as a contestant, I wouldn't really care what anybody else said but Simon Cowell, because he says it like it is, you know?
Correct. Yeah. You know, it's coming from the heart.
Yeah.
Even
Just
though
in a nicer way this year.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just in a nicer way this year.
In a nicer way. Now that he has a son, he's like, maybe I should be a little bit nicer.
Yeah. Maybe because my name's going to be all over the internet forever. Maybe I should make a good legacy for myself.
There we go.
There you go. Let me ask you, like, what makes you, the question is not like what's special about you, but why have you done so well in a 5-year period? Like, why did you get on America's Got Talent? Like, I'm sure that in the same year that you came, there would have been probably 1,000 people from all over the world that flew into LA to maybe pursue a career.
I think, Jamie, I've been very lucky with my support system. I'm a very emotional person and a very sensitive person. So I'm lucky to have a wonderful support around me. And then another thing is that I'm not giving up, you know, and it's very easy to give up in this industry. And if I keep on going, it's eventually going to happen. So those two things. And then, sure, if I can flatter myself a little bit, you got to have a little bit of talent to also make it.
That's a no-brainer.
So, yeah. So the fact that I love what I do as well is what's going to take me far. So it's the support, it's the love of it, and it's just keeping on.
And the beautiful thing is that in 10 years time, 20 years time, like you land that like you said, that big break hasn't come yet, but in, you know, whenever that may be, whether it's next year or whatever it may be, and you know, you're a household name, people are, oh my God, you're so lucky, like you just knew the right person. It's like, yeah, but for like the first 4 years, I didn't know the right person, and I still had to turn up, and I still had to.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, lucky. When people say, oh, you're so lucky, it's not lucky. No. Sure, there's a bit of luck in there. There's a bit of luck in everything that we do. But it's a lot of hard work. Totally. And I'm not lucky to have got this job. I worked for this job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you touched on that already, but I just wanted to emphasize that because people do forget the behind the scenes. You can't trust Instagram. Let me tell you that. My 100%. Instagram looked absolutely fabulous when I was having a really tough time. You know?
Yeah. But like I said,
that's also something I had to learn.
Well, exactly. Like I said, when you make it, and it doesn't matter what industry it is, it doesn't matter if it's TV, you know, music or business, or just as a parent or in life, in a career, if you make that role from the 2IC to then moving to the owner of a business, well, it's like you had to work that. You're not lucky because you were there. You had to do work to get there. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Ruby Rose, when Ruby Rose like blew up after Orange is the New Black, excuse me, I followed her on Instagram, and she posted something that was so relevant to the time because everyone was like, Ruby Rose, overnight success. Oh my word, Ruby Rose. Everyone's obsessed with Ruby Rose overnight. And she posted something that said, every overnight success is a good 15 years in the making.
Yeah.
You know, so we don't know what she had been doing 15 years prior to the day that she blew up. And we forget that.
Incredible. Incredible. So true.
Yeah.
So true. Last question as we start to sort of to wrap it up. Chanel, and again, I really appreciate every minute of this. I really do.
I've loved this.
It's been good. It's been good fun. Was there something that anyone ever said to you, or something that you heard, something that you read, whether it be a motivational thing or something you just, you consumed, that when it's time for you to really dig deep and really, get that grunt out, it's like maybe it's a quote or a saying or something that you just say to yourself? Like, what would that be?
I've said this, I think, a lot in our conversation, which is keep on keeping on. And that's actually something that Steve Sherman, the guy that got me my first job on TV, he said that to me when I moved here to America. And that's also just, I think, brings you back to being grounded, that the keep on keeping on has like two avenues for me. It's, you're going to make it, just keep on. It's the positive, you got this. But also the keep on keeping on has a slightly lower frequency where it's like, it's hard, it's difficult, things are going to come in the way, but just keep on going. Yeah. So I think that's a very simple thing to your answer, but I think for me, it's been constant.
Yeah.
He said that to me literally a few months into my move here. And I was like, wow, that sits with me. I like that. And I've just always just referred back to it of keep on going. It's okay.
I love it.
Just keep swimming, a little Dory,
A little Dory. Oh, yes. Fun moment,
and then
absolutely.
there's lots of things that I do say to myself all the time. I'm also, my boyfriend and I, we have a very close relationship where he allows me to offload and talk. I think talking is so important. I think everybody in the world should have their own therapist. I think it's talking is just, we bottle up so much, and sometimes just hearing what you are thinking by saying it and hearing it out loud, it solves that maybe little problem or issue that you are dealing with by just voicing it,
So good. No, that's so true. Well, Chanel, again, like I said, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time here today.
Yes, such a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Or yesterday in your world and today in my world.
So weird.
So where would be the best space for people to follow you, find you, learn more about what you do?
Yes, Instagram. I've kind of done all the routes of YouTube and Twitter, and I even was on TikTok for a bit, but I've deleted TikTok since watching The Social Dilemma. Don't know if you watched that.
Yeah, I have.
Very scary stuff.
Yes, very.
Yeah. So the best thing for me is Instagram. Luckily on Instagram, it has Reels now, IGTV. So I've got my acting stuff on there, my hosting stuff, and it's just Actional Hurlin. And a lot of people have reached out to me. I mean, I don't think I know it all at all, but I am very happy to always give my 2 cents, my advice, tell my story. If anybody has reached out to me before, I've always replied to them. So I love opening that door and being just a little bit of advice, maybe.
Yeah, good. Well, make sure you guys reach out for sure. And if anyone is listening or watching now and thinks that they want to make the move to LA or even just get into the industry wherever they are around the world, I'm sure there's some tips and strategies that you can share to help them
100%
on the journey. But again, Chanel, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. And everyone else out there listening now and tuning in, thank you so much and we'll catch you in the next episode.